Yeah, that's right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Civic Cipher. I'm your host, Ramses Ja.
They call me Q Ward.
And, today's another special show that we have for you. Got another special guest.
Extra emphasis on special.
Yeah, man. He's the man of the decade, I want to say.
No, now you're being kind. There's kindness in there.
Listen, if you know who I'm talking about, you know exactly why I say that. For a lot of folks who listen to the show, who are not based in Phoenix, Arizona, it's very important that I paint a picture of today's guest on the show. He goes by the name of Thadd Shea. So first off, welcome for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. You and Q, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
And I want to tell a personal story just to give you an idea of who he is, and then I'll let you know why it's important that we had him up on today's episode. So, for those that know, I used to do a show called Friday Night Flavors, later changed the name to Ready Set Radio, later changed the name to Rhyme and Reason, later changed the name to Radio Solstice. You might know the story. And somewhere along the line, I met an artist named Uncut. We used to call him Uncut.
I didn't know this was coming.
Based on his Twitter handle. This was back before Instagram was out. It was just Twitter at the time. Yeah. And he had a song that I loved. I'll sing the praises of this song as long as I'm able to. Yeah, that
I didn't know.
This time I want it all. Record.
Oh yeah.
As I could.
It's a John Legend sample.
Yeah. I remember. Anyway, a prolific voice, an extremely talented artist, and being in that position, you're not really in a position to play favorites. But since I don't do that anymore, I'll just let everybody know I was definitely playing favorites because that song was my favorite. I was very much looking forward to all your new releases and all that sort of stuff.
I did not know that, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm glad I got to tell you.
Wendy's number 3 on me. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, it's all worth it. But things change, as they do. And, we're all looking for, progression, evolution, the next step in our careers. And, Thadd Shade went from Uncut to Thaddeus Shade. This was when, by now, Instagram had come out, all these sorts of things. And he had, because of his ability to network, to inspire people, to get people to like him, just a very likable person, a large, huge personality, extremely funny, just the sort of person everybody wants to be around, be close to, party with.
Facts.
That energy all the way through and through. He ended up finding himself around a lot of promoters and doing a lot of promoting. Mm-hmm. And I love to see this evolution. I watched it, a lot of it from afar, but, of course I monitored it over the years. And his humor, he was one of the few people early on who was able to translate his personality and his humor through his social media. Mm. As a result of that, he was able to build a huge organic following on social media across various platforms, which further established him as, in my opinion, based on what I know, I would say the premier promoter in Arizona in terms of your capacity to get the word out to many thousands of people.
Thank you.
And I don't think that that's really something that anybody could really argue because I'm talking about numbers.
Yeah.
With that said, today's episode, we're going to talk about the discrimination that a lot of times black folks find in nightlife, in entertainment, in various cities, not just in Phoenix. All of us have moved around quite a bit. But I happen to know that, Q has spent a lot of time and a significant part of his DJ career in Arizona, in Phoenix, and on the West Coast DJing. And of course, Thadd Shade, as in my opinion, or at least based on the numbers, the premier, the largest promoter in Arizona. It felt like having these two voices at this table to have this conversation was appropriate. So once again, welcome to both of you. Back to the show.
Yes.
Q obviously, I got plans for Q, but today we're gonna make it about you, Mr. Shade.
Well, thank you.
So, I told a little bit of the story. Is there anything that I missed in terms of, you getting into the game, the promotion game, and getting really established in Old Town Scottsdale, which has a history of really not letting black folks, take root out there?
Well, first of all, man, thank you for the kind words again. I don't do a lot of shows, you know what I'm saying? I've gotten asked, and I don't, for one reason or another, I dip and dodge or whatever the case may be. But I did really want to come because, listen, I was sleepy, man. I was sleepy. Let me just say that I was sleepy. I was talking to Davion on the phone, and I was like, man, Rams is my guy. But I'm looking through my law book. You know what I'm saying? Here. Oh, can I say that? My bad.
We can fix that.
Oh, my bad. Oh, you did. I'm looking through my lies. I'm like, my black lies. How about that? Oh, man.
Black lives matter.
Yeah, right.
Black lives matter.
And but now I was like, man, Rams, I'm gonna get it together to go. So I don't get a chance to hear people actually kind of it's gonna sound bad, I guess, kind of acknowledge I consider myself a billboard. You know what I'm saying? So Fresh may be doing something, you may be doing something. If you send it to me, I feel like I'm a billboard. Like, people will get a chance to really see it. As far as, like, what was your question again, man?
Well,
I remember. I remember. Don't worry about it. I'm just messing with you. No, go ahead. What was it?
Well, okay. First off, I want to make sure that I acknowledge a couple of names that you mentioned. One was Davion, who's another one of the bigger promoters in this town. And then Freshmaker, although I don't consider him a promoter, he's certainly a champion of the black agenda.
Definitely.
And he is among the bigger promoters. He, in my opinion, he's more of a DJ and a host, and so a very important part of the nightlife scene. And there's some other folks too. There's VIP Enterprises with Corey. There's Black, I know, is one of them.
Mike
Cooper Trees, Mike Lowry, a lot of folks. And if I'm forgetting your name, it's just because I'm on the spot. But it's important to establish that there are a lot of black folks who, at least in the city where I'm from, and a lot of the cities where I do this sort of work, really have a tremendous amount of business sense. The promotion game is, it's just kind of a tough game, and it's a shady game.
It is.
There are people who are able to make a go of it in terms of entertaining.
Yeah.
The thing is that it wasn't always this case in Old Town Scottsdale, where there were black voices at the table. And I know that was an uphill battle. So originally what I was asking is, in terms of your getting established, do you recall, did I leave anything out of the story, in terms of you getting sort of your legs under you?
Oh, okay. As far as like starting to promote and stuff that.
Exactly.
One thing I learned early was to be a chameleon of faces. Like, I prefer to be in the crib. I read comic books, looking at Bruce Lee videos and, and watching old 90s sitcoms. That's where I prefer to be. That's where I've always wanted to be, right? Just be chilling, making some dollars, chilling, and enjoying those things. But early on, I really learned that, man, you gotta really have a lot of different faces. Just, being able to adapt on spot to who you're dealing with up front and in front of you. Picking that up from, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, so picking it up streetwise was something I always something I just kind of gravitated to. My brother was a hustler, and that linked down to me. So everything I did was just learning how to sell you whatever you needed, right? So then I fast forward all that. So I going through all the old man stuff. I will fast forward all that to music. So, when I was doing music, being able to take that Sharpie and then take a blank disc, handwrite my name on there. I got handwriting. I got doctor's handwriting. So my trash. Being able to write my name on there and then go down to the local gas station, the gas station down there where ain't number brothers. I can't, because you told me you don't think I almost ain't number brothers. You got box Chevys and Monties and everybody at D-Boy. They got, this is real street stuff, right? Being able, yeah, I'm sorry,
it's gonna make it easier.
Yeah, street stuff. So being able to sell somebody some scribble was something I was heavily impressed with myself. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I got music on there, but I ain't got no decorations on here. I ain't got no pictures. I ain't got no artwork on here. Ain't no farm animals, nothing on here. I'm just gonna write my name on here.
Farm animal.
Decide my name of this album, and I'm gonna scribble it on here, and I'm gonna walk up to, the thuggies of thuggies, and I'm like, brother, you know what I'm saying? What's up, man? This is what I'm doing. You can put it in, check it out if you need be. And I was selling. So when I realized I was able to do that, that really ran. And then I got out here when I was like 21 or like 22. And
what year was it?
Ooh, it was 2000. Ooh, bro, I'm old, bro.
That's okay. It was take the people back with you.
2004, maybe.
Okay. Approximately. Okay.
5. Oh, you know what? Like 2004, 5. I'll take that. And I just brought that with me. So when I got out here, now listen, I had never, me and Plains, and I'm Kansas City. Everything I did was it was in the slums. It was in the hood. I moved around. I did things that would, product of environment type stuff. So when I got out here, I was like, oh, this is nice. You know what I'm saying? The weather is nice. The palm trees.
Sir.
The women is nice, and the women's is nice, and the roads is paved. You know what I'm saying? It ain't potholes, and so I really enjoyed the first time I came out here, but I didn't stay. I would go back and I'd go forth because I was just having a hard time leaving your fam. You know what I'm saying? When I got out here, I made that decision. I know this is long-winded. Stick with me, folks. I got out here and it was like 75, and it was around Christmas time, and I was sold. Because I don't know if y'all, you know.
I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Yes,
If I told my story, y'all would think I was copying it. Y'all would think I was just like, I read his script and just reset it. It's almost identical.
Yeah, man.
Except it wasn't Christmas, it was February, but it was 75 degrees, and everything he just said is what I said. All that nice, every category of nice he just said, me too.
Yeah, 1000%, man. Not having to shovel snow and and ice storms and branches breaking and all types of stuff, man. I just was sold, man. And plus I was doing some wild back home. My mom's was out here, my uncle's out here, right? And sorry. Okay. Oh man, I got you, man. I'm a don't cuss. Okay, cool. And anyway, man, so when I got out here, it was the first club I ever went to was Club Next, right? And I had to do that through New Times at the time. I was opening up New Times, like, see what hip hop clubs I had, because I didn't know how to, figure out, to reach anybody. I knew that I knew how to sell some stuff, and I could hustle my way in there. But I was like 330 at the time, and I was wearing like 5X tees and like 50 waist jeans. I was clothes is baggy, so I was baggy, and I didn't know that, I was coming to Scottsdale, and it was real white, and that wasn't the thing, brother. You know what I'm saying? We can't have you come in here like that. You know what I'm saying? Look, I got like $50 on me. I can't have you take that from me. That's really what, the energy that I felt, right? So I managed to get past folks by talking, you know what I'm saying? And being able to, once again, adapt to how they were talking to me. You know what I'm saying? I had to bring their guard down. That's the one thing black folks is, believe it or not, we're really good at de-arming people. You know what I'm saying? Like just bringing, whenever you need to, like you when you're in front of somebody who's not black and you can tell that they're uncomfortable, we have a way of, like, come on, it's all right. All right. You know what I'm saying? Almost like being hugged by Beyonce on a sunny Sunday afternoon. She, you know what I'm saying, just got done giving you a glass of lemonade. She gave you a big hug. You know what I'm saying? We able to make you feel good. You know what I'm saying? And so once I did that, man, I got in with the manager there and the GM there. He would let me come in there, and man, I sell CDs in there inside the club in Old Town. I got a chance to talk to people, meet people. That's how I linked up with Swiss Beats. I mean, everything that has happened to me out here was from that moment and being in Old Town to watch. Now, for doing music, shifting that into promotion, those go hand in hand, believe it or not. Because if you're an independent artist, you got to be a better marketer than the labels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to know how to market yourself better than the labels. You got to be able to talk better than what a label manager can talk. You got to be able to spit the game, right?
I think that's very important, especially when you consider the climate of 2005 Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'll even fast forward a bit.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. I was a little winded right there.
Oh, no, you're good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So how about this? When there was a time a little more than 10 years ago, we'll call it 08 through maybe 2012-ish. And it wasn't just Scottsdale, Arizona. It wasn't just Phoenix. It was Vegas. I would DJ in Vegas. It was LA, a lot of the clubs in LA. And there was a lot of cities that really caught on to this wave of EDM music. And I'm going to say this real quick just because a lot of folks might know it. EDM music comes from house music.
Yep.
House music comes from black people in Chicago. If you do your research, you understand that. So that's still black music. You'd be hard pressed in this country and most of the countries on earth. Most of the songs.
I think Detroit got a little bit in there too, right?
Yeah.
Detroit got a little bit.
But in the development. But so y'all know what I'm saying. In any event, I recall at that time in at least Scottsdale and Vegas, because I had a residency at Planet Hollywood in 2010, so I was there on the Strip every Sunday night. That hip-hop music, if you played hip-hop music, people were worried that it would bring the wrong crowd. And you have these cryptic words and phrases.
The wrong crowd.
And then here in Phoenix, there's a group, at the time it was called EEG, Evening Entertainment Group. It's owned by a couple named Les and Diane, who are known racists. And
you gonna put me? Okay, all right. Go ahead. Now keep going. You're right, because
I'm just telling you what I know to be true of my experience.
No. Me and you on the same page.
Okay.
I got to go back to work in Scottsdale, so go ahead.
I don't have that problem. So let me tell it.
Okay.
But these people would, and they've had many nightclubs over the years. And this, I'm picking on them, but this sentiment is prevalent, not just in Old Town, but I experienced in even more global cities. Like I said, Vegas was really where I spent a lot of that EDM, where EDM was sort of peaking musically in this country.
All right.
And during that time, I recall myself having to wait in line. I'd be invited places by, whoever is, the GM of the club, but the security is so trained to keep anyone with brown skin at the door.
Facts.
And to discriminate. They're taught to discriminate. I remember hearing the phrase non-swimmers. I remember hearing someone, this was, I think it was Les himself had gone up to a friend of mine in radio, Jay Filla, and mentioned to him, like, wow, it's a dark night in here, isn't it? Referring to that there was too many black. And then there's a ratio established at the door. So in a lot of cities around the country, there has been established this idea that if you wear tennis shoes,
Jordans.
or Jordan, but tennis shoes,
Tennis
you know,
shoes.
almost very specifically Jordan.
Yeah.
but here's what I'm going to say. You know, because once upon a time it was like you can't wear a plain T-shirt. Then it became, well, you have to have a collar, and then it became, oh, well, you can't have a chain on, and all these sorts of things, which truthfully only applied to folks who had brown skin, who wore those clothes in such a way that it looked a little bit different from what they were trying to establish in those clubs.
That's
and
true.
They would tell their bouncers to embarrass us while we stood in line, to discriminate, and it you know, standing in line. And I don't think this gets said enough, and I think it's important to say names. I think it's important to say the names of institutions, because at present in this country we're going through a time of reconciliation, we're going through a time of healing and understanding what it is that it's like to be us, and these subtle traumas, if you will, have subtle impacts over time, and then it boils up, and then eventually it boils over, and then you start to feel like, well, the world hates me, you know. And I don't think that is a healthy thing to do. And so while we have this platform, it's very important for us to talk about it. But I will say this, in my own experience, I've been made to stand out in front of the clubs. Now, I'm the person who's from the radio, prime time, I'm on TV, and yet these security guards, these bouncers, are making me stand out. And then someone has to come down. I have to text somebody standing there looking stupid after I already stood in a line, and then wait my turn for someone to come and rescue me from my own blackness.
It's crazy.
And say, oh, he's one of the good ones. And you have to understand how humiliating that is. And I think it's important that all of us kind of have these sorts of conversations so that we know that it's not just happening to me. And if you're listening to my voice right now, that you recognize that this is not happening just to you. Or if you're an ally to black folks or brown folks, because I do recognize that our brown brothers and sisters endure these sorts of things as well, that you understand how to be a better ally to folks who might endure these sorts of things, you know, and then we all, again, I say this a lot, but we all take a step forward as brothers and sisters. So in these clubs where, you know, they're playing black music, I don't care how how much you want to whitewash it. Obviously nowadays in the 2020 era, I can't say 2020 because no clubs have been open in 2020, but in the past few years, and I would imagine in the coming years, hip hop has regained its center stage status musically and in terms of nightlife. And it's interesting to know that a club will, and I want you to speak to this, Q, a club will hire a black DJ to give some authenticity to their hip hop night on Saturday. And my understanding is where you were DJing was the biggest club in Arizona, or at least the most expensive. And not let black folks in, or at the very least give them a hard time when it came to coming in. Does this reflect your experience?
So very, very interesting. My perspective, similar to Thadd, and maybe similar to yours as well, is I wasn't introduced to this city or to this space as a DJ. When I met both of you guys, I was a rep for a very successful French luxury brand that has an alcohol and spirits division, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. And we were introducing to the market for the first time in almost 300 years a new mark of alcohol from that brand group, and it was called Hennessy Black. One of the most successful reps in the United States, highest sales conversion, most new engagement, most cocktails sold per night, however you want to measure it. I was tops in the country. And a lot of the first meetings that I went to, and it's even really difficult to say this out loud now, I think all of us are hypothetically revolutionary. If anybody ever, steps to me with some racist stuff or challenges me in that way, I'm going to respond this way. It's how we all hypothetically think until the way that we make a living and feed ourselves and our families are adjacent to that hypothetical revolutionary. So I'm trying to introduce a new cognac to Arizona at large, but Scottsdale specifically. And the word Hennessy in 2008 in Scottsdale really wasn't the word that you wanted to step into these meetings with, because I got to be put in a position of exceptional Negro, I'll say. You know, if you ever seen the movie Django, the way that DiCaprio's character speaks about the exceptional Negro, the one in however many that's different, because he speaks better, because he presents himself as more put together, because he's friendlier or disarming, as my brother said earlier in the interview. So I had people tell me to my face, Q, we love you, but we don't want your crowd. And like, I'm shaking saying it now because it's so overtly insulting. But in those meetings, I didn't get mad and storm out. I sat, finished my meeting, finished my pitch, and had to figure out, how am I going to come back next week and get these people to buy this liquor from me? They didn't even say we don't want the product. They tasted it. They thought it was great. But like, the worst of us are going to show up and destroy their business if they put Hennessy behind the bar. The worst of us, because I'm not the worst of us. I'm exceptional.
Yeah.
They loved me. But if they bring Hennessy in here, especially Hennessy Black, then the worst black and brown people, the worst, the non-exceptional Negroes are going to show up and destroy our clubs.
I want to say this,
and we can't have that.
You did get that off in downtown Phoenix, which has a different culture than
we thrive.
At least at that time.
At the time, yeah.
But I think that's important that you mentioned that, because, as I stated earlier, not only have you, Thadd, been able to sort of overcome that climate, but you've also been able to thrive. And my understanding is that out of your promotional efforts, you've been able to get many successful nights with many partners all working together. From where I sit, it doesn't look like you take a lot in the way of L's. In terms of the nights you promote, and then you've been able to parlay that into other efforts. In other words, a successful black-owned business. Yes. And I'll share a quick story with those listening. I had a chance to recently sit down with you and a lot of the folks you work with, your team, and based on some miscommunication, some misunderstanding, it kind of warranted the meeting. But the one thing that I was able to say, and I'll say it again, is that I'm very, very proud of you, all of you. If the rest of you are listening to this, they will. And then I'm also proud of anyone in any other city as well who has managed to make a go of this, because I do recognize that the discrimination of black folks, while using black culture to make money, is something that is prevalent. And as a black person, to know that your culture is good enough, your music's good enough, the way you dress and the way you talk, and everything about you is cool, your athletes are cool, everything about you is cool, but you personally, you, the individual, the human who is endowed with consciousness, I would rather you didn't involve yourself to any significant degree. I just want to take all the good parts of you over here and party, and everything that makes you who you are, please keep that on that side. Right. That's, to me, seems like an attack on your character and your integrity, and to have to endure that to make a successful go at something across the board, or to even have to endure it to just go out and have a good time. Right. Even if this isn't your career path or whatever, if you're just a person who works a job and once a month or once every 3 months, or you get to go out and have a good time, and you get held up at the door, discriminated against. I have this platform, and I wanted to make sure that I said that this is not an experience that is exclusive to you. It happens to a lot of folks. Definitely. The world is getting better. Definitely. And if you have any residual traumas from that, that's okay, because I clearly have them myself. Should never have endured them myself. Now, because you are a business owner, a successful promoter, and obviously you've established your own culture, your own brand, your own name in a city known for its discriminatory practices. What were some of the things that you recall doing early on to reach out to Black and brown folks to let them know, hey, this is a place that's safe for you? How did you go about cultivating an environment where folks felt welcome and so forth?
The reconstruction, I work at Club International now, right? We pretty much had to tear it down, not physically, but mentally, owner-wise, tear them down and then rebuild them back up. Because, much like you said, they want the music, they want the athletes, you know what I'm saying? They want the dollar. And most of the time when they come knocking on us, they're in the red. Their club is struggling and they need some help. They need like a couple of floaties or something like that.
How that works.
That's how it works.
And red, trying to get back to the black. How crazy is that?
1000%, man. And that was the situation. And so you got to tear them down, man. You got to tell them like, yo, you can't want everything else and then not want the people. And Jordan's is hip hop. That's the culture. You know what I'm saying? No, believe it or not, hats is the culture. You know what I'm saying? The jeans, the t-shirts that we rock, that all belongs. That's our style. You can't deny them access. You want to go hip hop. This is what it is. This is the people that enjoy it and they love it. Black, brown, they even what? Let me tell you something.
Please.
Hip hop is extremely diverse, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can come into the hip hop spot and enjoy themselves. Everybody. You rarely see folks at the country, black, brown folks at the country bars, or you know what I'm saying? But hip hop, you can come in, you can enjoy yourself, man. Super diverse. Everybody can come in. You like Luda, enjoy yourself. You want some Drake, enjoy yourself. That's really what it is. But it was a wild start because they really didn't want Jordans. Like they didn't want the hats. You got to put them in the button up, you know what I'm saying? And not saying that we can't get all dressed up and, in Sunday's best and come shine, but a lot of the culture, man, we like to put stuff together. We got to coordinate. We like to put stuff, but then look, yeah, that's going to be fly. You know what I'm saying? And that was a real challenge inside the building. And I mean, it was a tug of war. It wasn't like, overnight. This was inch by inch. Inch by inch. They finally gave a little here. We had to give a little bit. Then we got a little bit here. We got to give a lot more. And then they gave a little bit. And slowly, surely, now you can come in, you know what I'm saying? You can
be yourself.
Right. And that's crazy when you think about it because it's a hip hop club. You know what I'm saying? And, starting the International, we was dealing with police. The police didn't want us there. They didn't want us there at all. It was pure harassment. You can go with fire marshals constantly coming in. I mean, you name it. If it wasn't for us being in the corner where we're at, we're in the heart of Old Town. Like, we're in the heart of Old Town, but we on our we got our space down there. You know what I'm saying? But if we was inside, you know what I'm talking about, where you got Mayan, you got Hi-Fi and all them spots like that.
Exactly what you're talking about.
That wouldn't exist. We wouldn't exist there. They can't have that. You know what I'm saying? They can't have that. This is the thing that I think they fear most, which is wild. Our club, we don't have fights like that. We don't have shootings. You know what I'm saying? This is wild. A lot of these other bars, these country bars, and I would say predominantly white bars, have way more fights than us.
Yeah, I was gonna say
way more fights. And there's this big fear is that they can't. So when I'm in this, and we're talking about it, you learn that white security really feels like they can't handle us. You know what I'm saying? And there's some truth in that. We don't f around. You know what I'm saying? You put a little Hennessy in it. Oh my Lanta.
Keep going.
Proceed, please.
You put a little Hennessy in us, we're not gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying? You a couple of white folks, they might get some beers in them, and you can just push them on out. You know what I'm saying? But we really not looking to do that. There's too many women in the spot. You know what I'm saying? And for years after years after years after years, just a stereotype about international, it's a stereotype about any black club, is that there's just all these fights, and this constant shooting, these constant this aggressive environment, and that's really not the case. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that stuff don't happen. I'm not saying we perfect. Ain't no spot perfect, but that's really not the case. And I could just remember, like, there'd be moments where you would look up, and there's been times we've had an artist. We could pick any artist. We had a group of artists, right? And all of a sudden, fire marshals is there. They just sitting, chilling. You know, all the other clubs down that way, they pack, busy, line. They just, fire marshals just chilling. You know, just chilling. What y'all doing? Everything good? Looks nice in here. Yeah, we got 40 people in there. Looks good though. Looks good. Y'all keep y'all 40 people in there. And they just, and then, you know, bend, and then they finally just leave, and we can get back to business, man. But that's a constant thing that we've really have had to deal with. And it's wild to think that we, just by being us, we cause so much fear. And I'm like, bro, are we just trying to party like everybody else? That's really it. That's all we trying to do. Come out and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Women trying to see some men trying to see some women. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is, man. I've seen and experienced so many things, man. It's not to say, because it's not to say that, you know, we got some great sheriffs that work for us, you know what I'm saying, and they really do understand. They really do understand. Let me be very clear. I'm friends with these sheriffs. These are guys that I betted myself. Listen, I betted them. I put them in the table. I put the spotlight on them. I said, what y'all do? What's going on? So these are really legit guys, and they understand, like, man, you know, especially you'll see some of the younger sheriffs come in, or sheriffs that haven't worked the night, and you can see they're a little
edgy.
You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because within, you know, maybe that first night is a Friday, they work. By Sunday, because we're open Sundays, by Sunday, it's cool, good, saying what's up to people, talking to everybody, because that's not, we there to party, have a good time. Right. We're not looking for problems, man. And it's crazy how we're so feared, and it shouldn't be that way, man. We just, you know,
every sheriff needs to experience swag surf.
Definitely,
it would dead everything.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I think swag surf could make the Bloods and the Crips vibe together.
It do, though.
What that does to the room, if you're a sheriff and you ain't never been in it, and you see that, the unity,
yeah,
that's expressed when that song comes on,
yeah,
I think would dead a lot of that fear.
For those that don't know, the Swag Surf is a song that is it's a black song, but it's a song where everybody can get. It's real easy to get with it.
Yeah, you know? and it provides
it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. It
unites
really is.
The room like you've never seen before.
Now, I wanted to ask you something,
please,
because obviously this is not the first time there have been complaints about the way black folks are treated in, as far as like nightlife is concerned.
Yeah.
And I do recall recently there was a resolution that was proposed to try to address some of these racist practices that these companies either have a very cavalier attitude toward, or are willingly undertaking so as to, you know, acquire the precise ratio of, you know, white to brown to black in their clubs, so that it has the aesthetic that they feel fits, you know, their business model. And this resolution, well, first off, you've seen it. I know you've seen it. How do you feel about it?
I think that it was very, very well put together. You know, resolute to resolve the intentions of the document are very well articulated, and if it was given proper attention, would be something really, really awesome. Except, typically, and I'll use a company like Nike, for instance, even if they don't love us, even if they actually don't care about us, they absolutely respect and appreciate our dollar. So if the best athletes in the world who Nike represents came to them with a resolution, they would take it very seriously. They care about their business partners. People like LeBron James, they care about their business partners. Even if they don't care about LeBron James, the human, they care a whole lot about that 23 and that crown, right? That LJ and that crown, they care a lot about that. So that would be given the proper attention, taken into actual consideration, and some action steps would be put in place so that their partners and their consumers would feel respected, appreciated, and comfortable continuing to give them their money. The problem with the audience that this document was intended for is that they don't care.
You mean the club owners would not care about a resolution?
Why? They don't. They actually don't want us there. Can I look at the camera and say that? Hold on, let me fix my hat. They actually don't want us there. So there's no real reason to take such a document serious. I told you guys those meetings I went to. Eventually, I got Hennessy in all those clubs.
Yeah.
All of them in surplus. But do you know why? The market crashed and their typical consumer stopped spending money. You know who was still doing bottle service when the market crashed? Yeah, I got that swag. We were in there. So because our people were the only people really spending money, when people whose wealth and well-being was tied to the market, see, ours wasn't.
Yeah.
But when people whose security, sense of self, sense of well-being was tied to the market and it crashed, those people got scared. They started liquidating assets, selling golf clubs, etc. We were still going to the club because we just worked all week. We can't wait to go out this weekend. We actually just worked all week so we could go out this weekend.
Right. Yeah.
So we are, please give me 2 tables. Y'all, ain't nobody in there? Give me that whole, give me that 4 and 5. Give me that whole section over there. So then they call like, hey, Q, about that Hennessy Black, right? Can we do a couple cases of that this weekend, see how it goes? And that got us back in the door. But as soon as they were able to float without us, the same practices that always existed, like really, really random, strange, unrealistic dress codes, came right back into play.
Okay. So let me jump in right here. Well, first off, if you're just tuning in, you're tuned in to Civic Cipher. I'm your host, Ramses Ja.
They call me Q Ward, and that just so happens to be my actual name.
Special guest today, Thadd Shade, promoter extraordinaire.
Hello.
Nightlife
Brand architect.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All the above.
Producer.
Oh man.
And an absolute, genuinely good person, which means more than all that other stuff that I just said.
Onlyfans.com, Chocolate Warrior, man. / Chocolate Warrior. Get it on. Here you go. I'm just playing.
So listen up. You made an excellent point. And I think that at some point, and I'm not just saying this because of who I am, and I guess I'll just say it. I won't say any names, though. But for folks that know me personally, you may know that I actually own a couple of nightclubs in myself. I can't promote them for obvious reasons, but if you want to, do a little research, it's not hard to find out for yourself. In any event, I think it's at some point in the future, we do need to have a conversation about supporting black-owned businesses. Now, to be fair, there haven't always been black-owned clubs. And up until, I think, me, and I think the Worthies who came after me, there was no black ownership, but there was the next best thing, which was effectively what you were doing with Fresh and Davion and everyone else. And then taking those dollars and then investing them in barbershops and hair salons and so forth. I was so proud of you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
So I will always be proud of you. That's amazing to me.
Appreciate that.
I think that at some point we really need to have a conversation. If UQ are able to say that we were that excited to go as a people, that excited to go and spend our dollars and cents with people who were openly racist, you know, like out loud with it, you know, and, you know, I've just never heard the insult non-swimmers.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
How in the world? And this is the people that owned Axis and Radius. You know, I think that's Les and Diane, but they're not the only ones.
No,
you know,
not the only ones at all.
But in any event, it pains me to know that we were that excited to go back and spend our money to buy bottles from these places that hated us, changed their minds when it was fiscally convenient for them, and then as soon as they could get back to the base that they wanted, all of a sudden Hennessy Black is too black again, and we are relegated, as you said, to the corner where we can throw our little parties and still get harassed by fire marshals and the sheriffs that don't know you and haven't been vetted by you. And I think that at some point we all need to have a real conversation about what it is that we want. Do we want to be accepted by them, or who hate us, or do we want to be accepted by us? And I think that no matter who you are, you have to love yourself first. You have to come to terms with who you are in the world, and determine and decide your own value if you expect anyone else to keep that energy around, or to have that energy around you. So I think that bears saying, at least in this conversation. Not to take anything away from anybody who's doing anything, and I certainly, I've been doing this for a very long time. Far be it for me to promote my own interest, but it just is something that needs to be said. It's long overdue. Perhaps this is the first time, at least for me, that something like this has been able to be said out loud. These sorts of things were happening in the 90s. You know, from what I recall, I didn't have anyone who went to party in the 80s, so I didn't know if the practices were as discriminatory way back then, or if the nature of
I bet it was.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Of course they were.
But before I was old enough to go to a nightclub, there was discriminatory practices, and here we are, a solid 30 years into the future. And my understanding is that, you know, with one notable exception, Old Town is still very much what it's meant to be, and then all the other old towns, quote unquote, in all the other cities in this country largely behave the same way. That's from Miami up to Seattle, and all the way, well, Seattle's kind of cool, but all the way down to LA, and Vegas, of course. You know, New York has, you know, there's parts of New York where they will definitely hold your color or the language you speak against you. So, you know, again, that's something that really I wanted to make sure that I was able to say. Now, question for both of you. Well, first off, Mr. Shade.
Yes, sir.
Thadd Shade.
Yes, sir.
You spend any time ever in church? Ever been to a church in your life?
Yeah, man.
Okay. That's
all right.
Yes or no?
All right, yeah.
I want to ask both of y'all, what do you think is more segregated? It's just because they go together. You know, Saturday night, you're at a club. You know where you go Sunday morning? Well, a lot of people go Sunday morning. Sometimes they wear the same clothes. Yeah. Go to church. And, you know, my father was a minister. His father was a minister. I grew up around church folks. One of the things that I noticed when I was, you know, little, all the way growing up, you know, I used to be a Royal Ranger. I went to Valley Cathedral, which was a predominantly white church. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why the preacher, although he was a Pentecostal preacher, was a white man, and therefore lots of white folks went there. I was one of the only black folks that went to that church. There's probably over 1,000 people. And then, of course, black churches, very segregated. But the same thing is true, I think artificially so, with nightlife. But if both of y'all have been in churches, you know, what do you think is more segregated, nightlife or church?
Church.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
It's not even close. Yeah.
So, I feel like, but I think they do run. I think that just me being able to say that suggests that the problem is, of course, a lot larger than, you know, they're holding us up in the lines at the clubs, and they're not giving us, you know, the dignity that we deserve.
I mean, there's been. I just want to say this, man. There's been moments, man. I've established myself. You know what I'm saying, doing this. And I've went to some of the other spots, and I've been turned away for not being old enough. Look at my IDs. Oh, you're not old enough to get in. And I'm like, man, look, bro. You know, but like, but I avoid all that. I don't even deal with them spots. Like, that was like my last straw. That was some years ago, and it was at Hi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? And dude told me I wasn't old enough to get in. And I've in my time, I've scared some doormen because because you can only, sometimes you're just not for it. You know what I'm saying? You're not for the bull. So you're not for the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Say that.
I feel so bad, bro. You're not even for it. So you have these moments where you just let it out. And I've let it out a couple of times, and then you just kind of learn, man, don't even put yourself in that. But I've been turned away for Halloween night. Oh, you got on Jordan. It's Halloween. I've seen people come in here butt naked. It's Halloween.
Almost
you got
literally.
Literally, I'm for real. I'm not this
barefoot with panties on.
Right? And guys wearing weird G-string crap, whatever. But you got on Jordans. You can't. My boy G Craig was with me. You can't get in. You got on Jordans. It's Halloween, bro. This is like the one night that I feel like I can dress like me, and y'all not supposed to be tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, they say, what you going out is? Somebody dressed that enjoys hip hop. That's what I'm going out as. Can I get in? You know what I'm saying? Like, but no, I've been. It's insane, man. That area and why we like to be in there, but that goes to it. You could talk to it. That's a bigger issue behind that, man. It's something about getting money and then moving to an area like that.
Yeah.
We've always wanted to be in areas where we not really wanted to be.
The science behind it isn't complicated.
Yeah.
Right. The same way that I'm placed in that position of exceptional. That's why we want to go party there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I can get in there.
Yep.
I'm doing for most of us. I heard somebody doing an interview with, it was Jay-Z or some very, very astronomically successful rapper. And they were asking them how they're able to still have a fan base when the content of their music has moved into such an exceptional space. And it's because they become our avatar. Right? For 3 hours on Saturday, I can be Diddy.
Yep.
I can get a table. I can get bottles. There's lights. There's sparklers. The music is crazy. There's girls around. I've been working at the post office for 3 years, every day. But at International on Saturday, it's my birthday. I hit that shade in his DMs. He said he gonna look out for me. He gonna give me the buy one get one on the bottles. He gonna give me an extra bottle because it's my birthday and he my
put
man.
Me on a flyer.
He gonna put my picture on Diddy for that night. Yeah. The reason why we trying so hard to get there is because they said we can't.
Yeah.
They keep telling us we can't. Oh, we're gonna get in. Mm-hmm. We're gonna kick it. We have the audacity that we're gonna go where they very, very flagrantly don't want us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You talk about downtown. When I had Hennessy, I had downtown cracking.
Yep.
There shouldn't have been a soul in Scottsdale. Because downtown embraced me. Amari Stoudemire, Bobby Wade, everybody at PHX, everybody at Stoudemire's. Mm-hmm. They made me feel like family. And not only did they embrace me, they made a lot of money selling my product. I know. I saw the numbers. We fought to get into these spaces that told us they didn't want us. But it's that feeling of it. We want to feel special. That feeling of exceptionalism and wanting to be in the space where, for lack of better, everybody else can't go.
That's true.
We like to stunt. If Instagram would have been around back then, oh my God, bro. Because I had the corporate card. I didn't even have to have no actual money. And I'm coming in, I got 25 girls with me.
Yeah.
And we skipped the line. And then afterwards, I'm going to sit and talk to specifically y'all two outside in the street for 2 hours.
Yep.
And just talk about how good of a time we had. That's literally how I became close with these guys. Because they treated me like family right when we met. And after a night of spending my company's money at these clubs that a lot didn't want us there, we just sat and we caught up and we talked about life and love and really, really positive things. But that somehow we have to look at that. It's just like with relationships, man. I'm a DJ. I get to see girls fall on their face over guys who treat them like crap. That doesn't make any sense when you're looking at it like, dog, why is she going so hard after dude who's made it very, very clear she has no value to him? Mm-hmm. it's the same thing, bro. These clubs treat us like crap. No, you can't get in. Your shirt and your shoes the same color, man. I'm sorry. What? We gonna go change clothes. You know how crazy that is? Your shirt and your shoes are the same color, man. I'm sorry, you can't get in. Oh, no problem. I'll take off my hat. I'll change my clothes. Can I get in? I'll buy a table. Can I get
Yes.
We don't have enough time to have the larger conversation that needs to be had. But, brothers like y'all specifically who have taken this industry and literally taken it and made it your own, we have to find a way to be able to turn that attention and those dollars that we generate into something for ourselves, because we are, by our music, by our culture, and by our presence, creating life-changing generational wealth for people who'd rather not have us in their space.
Yeah. Hip-hop.
That's crazy.
Hip-hop will never, hip-hop influences so much. It just influences so much. And I know it's got to be frustrating to other genres, how we just dominate. We control fashion, you know what I'm saying, attitude,
TikTok.
Hip hop is for, it's a black thing, but man, I tell you something, man, the hip hop community is everybody, and we own it. Now, this is my moment. I was outside at the time. It was PCL. I can't say it now. I can't say a name. Ain't that something? Because you know the name of it, but now I'm acting like I can't say the name, right? And I've been and
the building's still there.
Yeah, yep. And they had a Mari Stoudemire waiting outside, and I mean he was regular like me, and it was in his heyday. This is Nash. This is Raja Bell. This is Amari Stoudemire. This is D'Antoni system. This is heyday.
Western Conference
stuck outside with me. How you doing, bro? You good? Yeah, I'm gonna go get this $2 bag of chips, bro, because when I get back, you still gonna be outside with me. You want something? Yeah, you good? No, you good? All right. Had him waiting outside, man. Same thing.
Well, I think that if and just so you know, the voice you just heard is that of Thadd Shade. Thaddeus Shade.
Thanks, man.
Uncut, aka Uncut. If you go back some years. And at least for me, I think that if we're going to have some sort of resolution moving forward, it starts with the understanding of the optics of these dynamics here. Understanding that some of these places absolutely would rather us not be there. And if they have to bite the bullet because they need our dollars and they're not really fans of celebrating our culture with us, but rather, taking parts of the culture that they can make money from and leaving us, the people, on the curb, quite literally, then I think that we really need to take a strong look and reevaluate our position and our priorities as a people. I will say it, to anybody listening. Support black businesses. That goes not just for black folks, but that also goes for allies of black folks that understand that even though you might be able to get into these nightclubs, your friends, may not be able to get into those clubs. And therefore, you should make some very informed decisions in terms of how you spend your money. And with that said, we're probably going to have to wrap it up here. So for more information, you be sure to check out civiccipher.com. You can go there and submit questions, suggest topics. If you want to donate to the show, of course, we do the show for you. Your donations are always appreciated. You can donate once again at civiccipher.com. All our social media is at Civic Cipher. You can follow Q Ward.
I am Q Ward.
You can follow Thadd Shade
at Thaddeus.Shade.
And you can follow me at Ramses Ja. Until next week, y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.